Hello, beautiful souls. It's Dr. Danny. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you to all the new subscribers and shout out to the channel members. Today, I have a really awesome presentation for you. This came to me in fits and spurts. It's this amazing, juicy Pisces energy that we're in. It's sort of like a go with the flow kind of energy. And sometimes decodes and things I need to do come in huge downloads all at once, and sometimes they come in fits and spurts, and that was this presentation, but I think what I put together for you is really, really good. This is a recorded video because I wanted to kind of take my time, explain my thought process, and not be worried about my live audience. This is recorded on Sunday morning. So later today, I am going live to discuss the actual deep astrology. So do check out that video if you have not already. And then later this week, I'm going to touch on Venus timelines, Venus energy, Venus going direct through Pisces, her last hoorah through the huge constellation of Pisces. Today's decode is about the number 33, mostly because Sun and Chiron are both at 33 degrees of Pisces, which is so interesting for me as a constellational astrologer, former tropical astrologer. Our fixed signs in Western tropical astrology are only 30 degrees, but when you use actual constellational astrology, you can have more than that. And in fact, Sun and Chiron, planetoid asteroid Chiron, the wounded healer teacher, which we are studying tomorrow night. I'm so excited. Links below if you want to join. It's not too late. I don't know if I can do your chart, but if you still want to join, that's cool. And then you can just get it later too, because it's an amazing course. Anyway, I digress. Chiron, the wounded healer, the teacher, conjunct Sun, the fullest expression of our highest spiritual self, at 33 degrees of Pisces, which is the number that reminds us of the Christ. It reminds us of this magical master teacher number. That's my life path, by the way. If you take my birthday, 8/4/1974, you will get the number 33. So I love that that's reaching out to me through the cosmos, but 33 means so much more than just me. It's about this Christ consciousness. It's about being connected to source, whatever you call that, whether it's your guides, your angels, your teachers, your your dead relatives, aliens. It doesn't matter, whatever it is that's reaching to you through fourth dimensional time and space and guiding you. It's about connecting to that, and I feel like that number is connected to that energy. So big part of this conversation today for sure, not only because of the degrees, but also because of some of the things that I found in the decoding, which is amazing. So all these beautiful synchronicities that I get to present to you and show you. All right. So I think that's announcements. That's intro. I will start by sharing the screen and we'll look at the sky. And we're just going to have a beautiful moment together when you see where this moon is, because it's not where the tropical astrologers tell you. The sun isn't where the tropical astrologers tell you. It's not Aries season, not yet. We still have another week to go. So let me share my screen and we'll get into it. All right. You shout out to stellarium-web.org. You guys can go to this website for free and put in any date you want and any location you want and change the time, change the date, zoom in and out. You can put in the atmosphere, you can take it out, you can take the lines in and out, you can take out the art. But when I set it to what I like, which is no atmosphere, the art and the lines, I see the moon right here conjunct this star called Spica. There's two different ways you can say it, I guess, but it's a very powerful star. It's a very auspicious star. It brings blessing and harvest and harmony. Can bring some chaos. But I love that the moon is just right there, and when you look at the chart, you'll see what I mean, and this is not a this is not a Libra moon by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, Libra is, I'd have to move. You can take away the landscape too. Libra's down here. We're not in Libra yet. Okay. So that is a Virgo moon. But if you put the landscape back in, look at this. It's just Virgo. Isn't she beautiful? She's just standing in all her mighty force. She is a force. If you were to zoom into Virgo, if you have the actual app downloaded on your computer, it'll do it for you. But there are thousands of galaxies within this star cluster. Like this is the Virgo cluster right here. And galaxies are just massive black holes. So Virgo is really, really, really powerful energy. I feel like there's like earth goddess energy here whenever we deal with Virgo. And the moon is also the feminine, the mother, the intuition, the empathy. So really the only thing grounding us in earth during this Pisces soup season is our emotional moon, our intuitive moon. So if you're feeling a little weird right now, it's completely cool. In fact, the talk I'm doing a little bit later, it's just about sort of spontaneous releases of Kundalini energy. It's very, very chaotic right now. And the moon during this full moon is the only thing that's going to be grounding us into the earth. As what, well, Jupiter is, but then so is asteroid Lilith, and they're both expansive. So it's almost as if we're, I don't know if you guys know the game Doodle Jump, but where you're stepping on these platforms, and every time you step on it, you have like 2 seconds and then it disappears. You have to jump up to the next level. And it's sort of what this feels like to me. So that's the moon. Let's see where the sun actually is, because I think that informs our astrology. And I think it's really interesting. I'm going to just move the time back a little bit so that we can see the sun. And did I lose the sun? Let me go this way. There it is. All right. That is what the sky looks like with the light. And you can see the sun right here. Nowhere near Aries. Aries is way up here. There's the Pleiades. And if you type in Chiron right here, Chiron, distant object asteroid, you can see they're conjunct. So I'd like to show you the sky first, because when we look at pieces of the chart, I feel like it makes more sense. At least it does to me. And then, of course, we've got Venus, Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, and then Rahu, or the moon's north node, all right here in the very early section of Pisces. So we are going to look at a chart and look at all of that. We've been talking a lot about Pisces over the last few months. In another week or so, the sun will be moving into Aries. It will feel like for real Aries. It'll be fiery. It'll be wonderful. And Venus and Mercury are both going direct. Venus, at the time of this recording, Mercury is stationing direct. And by the time we have this full moon, Venus will be stationing direct. So lots to look at in the sky. It's really interesting. I'm excited to see where my conversation goes during the live stream. All right, so let me put that down and go ahead and grab the presentation that I have been working on for you guys. All right, they also call this the pink moon, by the way. It's happening on April 12th, 2025. There's a few things that I want to discuss around this moon as we explore the numerology and the astrology. And the first topic will be the number 33, which we've covered a little bit already, the sun and the moon. Then we'll talk about the date itself, April 12th of 2025. We will explore the Pisces soup a little bit more. It's very interesting when you add the numerology and alchemology to it. There's a nice alchemology decode with Pisces soup. Hopefully, if you've been following my decodes, you'll have your mind blown just a little bit. Then there's the concept of being soul guided through this energy. And there's a very nice supporting aspect between Jupiter, Moon, and asteroid Lilith that we're going to cover. And then we will just kind of cover the rest of the planets, Mars and Pluto, and some interesting aspects, as well as Uranus. So without further ado, let's get into it. 33, Sun and Moon. Here's a chart of the sky we've just been looking at. So, the full moon on April 12th of 2025, you can see the sun. Actually, you know what? Let me put this in presentation mode so we can doodle on this thing. Here you can see it. Here's our Pisces soup over here. There's the moon and Spica that we just saw on stellarium-web.org. I didn't take you to Mars or Jupiter. Sorry about that. We might do that later. But here it is. It's Venus, Mercury, Neptune, Saturn, and the North Node. There's so many planets bunched up right here that the glyphs don't even fit. Like, it makes it look like Neptune is over here, but Neptune is actually lassoed into this spot right here. Whereas the 33 of Chiron and Sun are right here. So we're going to look at Sun and Moon. We're going to look at the number 33. All right, so there it is, zoomed in a little bit for you so you can see it, 233 degrees. And that's what I'm saying. That's what's so interesting about the astrology that we do, actually looking at the sky, because saying 33 degrees of Pisces is the legit astronomical position of Chiron and Sun in the constellation of Pisces. Whereas this is some sort of arbitrary degree of the sign of Aries in the month of April. It doesn't give you any numerological value that's connected to the underlying code and structure of the universe. It's super interesting. Plus all the esoteric energy surrounded around 33. I find it interesting that because, Chiron is the wounded healer teacher, that the number 33 comes out when you put it healing into the phi cipher. This is a numeric cipher, alphanumeric cipher, that takes the geometric energy of the golden ratio and applies it to letters in our alphabet. And when you type in a word, you get a number. Healing comes to me when I think of Chiron. And I think it's amazing that the number 33 popped up, because it is a healing energy. It's like a rebirth. Rebirth is 33. It's like being reborn. Chiron's mythology, he was a doctor, a healer, taught others how to heal, taught others how to medicine, and doctor is also 33. So 13 is 33, and you're going to say, well, why are you bringing up 13 as being 33? Well, 13 is Ophiuchus. It's the 13th sign. It's part of this constellational astrology cosmology, in which Chiron is the ruler of Ophiuchus. So 13 is 33 is super interesting, because when you look at Ophiuchus, you get the association. Interestingly, if you take the pi cipher, not the golden ratio phi, but the pi, which is the relationship between the circumference and a diameter of a circle, you can use that number to associate letters of our alphabet with that string of digits. And if you type in 33, you get the number 48. But here's what's really interesting. Watch this. Ophiuchus in the phi cipher is also 48. Do you see this? This is stunning to me. This is such an amazing, connection that I wanted to share it with you guys, and hopefully, give me a thumbs up if you like this content, if you're flowing with this energy, because this really is how it works. This is how you live in a flow state, by noticing these things if you have the eyes to see them. Chiron, if you spell it in the phi cipher, is 39. Here comes another little zinger. 13 in the pi cipher is 39. Now I'm going to stop there, because I don't want you guys to get confused. I just want you to know that when you connect the words, the frequency of the sounds we make with our mouths, and the numbers and the degrees and the astrology and the concepts, right? Healing, Ophiuchus, doctor, Chiron, that it's connected to 13 and 33. Oh, and look, slide 13. Okay, I mean, and I didn't even plan that because I had to throw slides in. I always throw slides in at the end. I kind of do the meat of my slides, and then I expand them, and then I add the chapter headings and things like that. So this is completely unplanned and also quite surprising. And yes, a synchronicity that if you have the eyes to see can show you some of the most beautiful connections. Let's examine Chiron and Sun as a numerological alphanumeric entity through the phi cipher. We get the number 55, which is interesting because 55 is a Fibonacci number, and the golden mean is or can be is one of the ways you can derive it is through the Fibonacci sequence. And some of the Fibonacci numbers, you've seen these before. I think I show you it at the end of this, but you basically add the number before to get the next number. So 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 8 is 13, 13 plus 8 is 21, 21 plus 13 is 34, 34 plus 21 is 55. Okay, I'm not gonna keep going, but I can go all the way to 144 without having to, like, look at my notes. So 55, I'm getting 55. Well, that's interesting. We've been using the pi cipher also, so I wanted to just check and see what I got there, and bam, I got 55 again. But look at this, it's even more interesting. 21 and 34 are Fibonacci numbers as well. So the pi cipher, spelling Chiron and Sun, gives you a string of the Fibonacci sequence, which I think is so interesting. Now, I mean, no astrological energy there, but a really cool connection showing you how they are baked into the code underlying astrology and numerology. We can bring in some alchemology to it, giving us just a little, yeah, wink, wink, you're on the right track when you're thinking about it this way, because cesium is the 55th element in the periodic table of elements. But if you look at its atomic mass, you get the 133, which is the 13 and the 33. It's just cool. I mean, this is fun. This is fun for me. This is why I'm doing this sort of in my own pace, in my own time, so that I can really let you guys know how cool this is. So let's look at the moon a little bit because the moon is super interesting too. I showed you this in the sky. The moon was conjunct star Spica. And here again, look at this. This is a little confirmation. We have the 133, which is from the freaking cesium 133. I don't know. I just to be able to like do this and then blow up this picture and make that connection, that to me was just so fun. It was just really cool to like, oh, look at that. Spica and moon saying, yep. Let's see what else. Oh, let's bring in some energy. So if we say Virgo moon and we use the pi cipher, remember pi, we get that same configuration that we got for Sun Chiron in the pi cipher. So Sun Chiron, Virgo moon, 21, 34, 55, Fibonacci sequence explained in the pi cipher. These are important. This is the basis of this reality. This is what encodes those geometric fractals and 12 base math and fourth dimensional reality. This is where all of this starts and comes from. You want to call it source, you want to call it the divine architect, but whatever you want to call it, the evidence of its existence is huge. Earth goddess. This is the remember I showed you on the horizon standing there with the moon right at her hips. And you have this feminine moon emotional energy, the only thing grounding us into the earth. This is earth goddess energy, and wouldn't you know it? In the pi cipher, you get 21, 34, and 55. So there's something about this astrology that's saying, yeah, we need to harness that earth goddess energy. I really, really am feeling into that, especially the way, and I'm going over this in my live, all these spontaneous releases of Kundalini energy through like arousal, through laughter, through anger, through crying, like these just outbursts of emotional energy. They're just so beautiful and so releasing. They release endorphins like serotonin, oxytocin, and dopamine. So I feel like that's where the earth goddess is kind of thrashing through the chrysalis to break free. It's really, really beautiful energy. Oh, and then I almost forgot to point this out. Black Moon Lilith, our pure creative untamed, wild force within us that bubbles through on very thinly veiled energies like what we've got right now is at 39 degrees of Virgo. Again, that's interesting, right? Because you can't have 39 degrees of anything in tropical astrology, yet here we are, sort of this energy that's bubbling up, this Black Moon Lilith chaos energy. And she shares a synchronicity with Chiron. So that's pretty cool. Slide number 23, which is Rahu and Ketu together. So let's get into the date itself. So there's a couple ways you can splice the numbers to get the number that relates to the date. This is one way where you use 4 and 12 and then you split the year. And I did that, and whatever cipher you use, you're going to get a number when you put a date in because numbers are numbers. So I got 61 for 4/12/2025. And interestingly enough, this was so cool. This was mind-blowing. Um, Promethium is the 61st element. And if you know the story of Prometheus, he was one of those gods that was punished for giving man fire. So this was a deity that wanted to help humanity, right? This was just divine energy coming down and giving us something to survive here that helped us survive on the surface. So he got punished for that and was chained to a rock, and vultures had to like eat his guts out and stuff. I mean, it's a horrible story. Like ChatGPT wouldn't even print me a cool image of it because it violated its standards. So, but Chiron is related to this character too. They link to one another. When Chiron was going through his energies, uh, where he was wounded and he had to he begged Zeus to die because he was an immortal and he couldn't die, but he had a mortal wound that wouldn't heal. I think they told him he could take Prometheus's place. So the two of these guys are tied together, which I think is very interesting. And then the software that I use for this frickin' astrology is Capricorn Prometheus. So nod to that. And there's a G-rated image that they could print for me that wasn't like gruesome with non-healing wounds and vultures pecking out people's guts, but there you go. You can also separate the digits out individually. So I did 4, 1, 2, 2, 0, 2, 5. And you can get the number 16, which is fascinatingly is the mirror of 61. And here's another cool, oh my gosh, this was like I saw this and I just giggled because sulfur is fire, promethium is fire. But what maybe some of you didn't know was that sulfur has a very rare isotope that's 33. I think it's a proton atomic mass, protons, neutrons. So it has a number 33, which is tied into, Chiron's placement, the sun's placement, Prometheus, fire, sulfur. Fascinating. Sun is also 16. Which is, the body involved in this full moon energy. So let's see, where else am I going with this? Okay, yeah. So basically just kind of a 1 + 1 = 2. We have two very interesting alchemical connections between 16, 61, the mirror of each other. It ties back to the number 33. It ties to the story behind Chiron and, his martyrdom and, as a healer teacher, what he was willing to do and go through. I think it was very interesting. And of course, Sun, which is involved in this, and conjunct Chiron, it presents as 16. Now, you can also pull a card for the day. So April 12th is the Nine of Diamonds. And this made me laugh too, because if you look over here to August 4th, that is also my birth card. So nod to me, nod to this energy, nod to doing this decode. And then, of course, remember 33 is also my life path number for my birth date. So, okay, Danny, you're on the right track. This card happens to be the 35th card in the Cards of Illumination in that deck. And you can get that from cosmicsugar.org. And when you spell moon in the 5 cipher, you get 35. Wow. Okay, so sun, moon, related to this energy, related to this date, related to the energy of Chiron. Watch this. The 35th prime number is 149. And I've showed you guys this before in other decodes, but let me just refresh your memory if you don't remember what this number reveals to us. That's Rahu plus Ketu as a compound number, 149. There's your 149. So when we talk about lunar events like the full moon, the new moon, or eclipses, we also want to talk about Rahu and Ketu because they are the moon's lunar nodes. Those are her nodes. So that is where her ecliptic, the moon's orbital ecliptic around Earth, crosses the ecliptic of the solar system. Okay, and you'll see the moon go up above the ecliptic a little bit, sometimes even out of bounds, and then below the ecliptic. And where the moon crosses the sun's ecliptic, you have Rahu and Ketu. And Rahu's your drive. Rahu's what you want to do. It's what you want to get done in this lifetime. I have Rahu in Ophiuchus, actually. So, striving to have that higher gnosis, to trust, to connect with the spiritual, to do the shadow battles and survive and bring the wisdom down. And then K2 is in Taurus for me. So it's like I don't have to strive for the things I need to be this spiritual leader I'm supposed to be. And that's Rahu and Ketu. So that's super interesting. Now, this is also called, if you look in the Farmer's Almanac, this day is also called the pink full moon. And you get the number 73, and this is just a really cool synchronicity that I wanted to just plop in here before we get into the next topic. The 73rd card of the tarot deck is the 9 of Pentacles, which is the same exact card as the 9 of Diamonds. I think Logan calls this card "You're on TV." So bam, we're on TV. We're talking about it. All right, let's see. Oh, we're into the next topic, Pisces soup. I'm going to be using a little alchemology with this one. Y'all will get a kick out of it, especially those of you that have been following my decodes and you know how much I love the fine structure constant as well. So we've got pi, phi, the fine structure constant, 13 and 33. Those show up everywhere in decodes, no matter how hard I try to stay away from it. They just show up and I'm like, well, okay, I have to talk about it. So let's get into the Pisces soup. And y'all know what I'm talking about, don't you? I mean, we've looked at this for months. This is so much energy. This is all Pisces. It's just and having the personal planets there for so long, like Venus and Mercury, you get creative spurts, you get emotional fits, the moon swinging in and out of there. We had an eclipse through there very recently. The last full moon was a lunar eclipse. We just had a solar eclipse. So this is the full moon following a solar eclipse, and it's still very dreamy. A lot of people are going through this, like I said, spontaneous kundalini release through laughter, through like bizarre times of being aroused, through crying, emotional outbursts, all kinds of crazy stuff. But what it does is it opens them up creatively. It lets their serpents flow, so to speak, in the most sacred and highly ordered way. So let's look at this soup. There it is, right around 5 to 10 degrees of Pisces. You can see the hashtags lining up here in the zoomed in picture. And of course, Venus is stationing direct. We're going to cover that next Friday. So I put all of those characters in the phi cipher, and I got 103. In numerology, you may cross out the 0. We get to the number 13. I mean, do I even have to keep talking about it? 13 is 33 in the phi cipher. So, like I said, I can't get away from it. But let's play with some alchemology. This was really fun. I went to Chem Speller and I just spelled Pisces soup because that's what I originally wanted to call my live stream, because of the way everybody was feeling. But the concept of laughter came up. So I wanted to cover the metaphysics of laughter. That's an interesting talk. I hope you guys enjoy that. So I went ahead and I played with the numbers and I put, I added up all of the element numbers. So, in order in the periodic table, these are the numbers that you add up, and it comes to 319. And I I laughed as soon as I saw this because now in numerology you can also interpose digits, and for some reason I can't get my marker over here. You see this? This is a permutation of 137, which is the fine structure constant. And this right here is a permutation of our 13 and 33, which is right up here. So that was like, oh, neat. Pisces soup connected to it. Um, then I took the atomic masses and I rounded up or rounded down whatever was appropriate. So like that's 31, that's 127, that's 45, that's 252, that's 16, 238. 31. But over here, I did 33 because of that special isotope connected to the sun. And the sun's in the 33rd degree. Remember, sun is 16. So I wanted to use the 33 for sulfur. And intuitively, that was the right thing to do because watch what happened. The sum total of those numbers, rounding up and using 33 for sulfur, resulted in 773. And I hope you're seeing what I'm seeing, but look at that. There it is. There's the fine structure constant, 137. In other videos, I go into why it's important and like literally we wouldn't have electromagnetic charge if we didn't have the fine structure constant. It's sort of the wiggle between things, but when you see it kind of show up, it just points you to synchronicities, coincidence. No, they're not coincidences. It's just how it's coded. And people that can see it can show you these connections. And I hope you guys are seeing it too, because when you take when you analyze 137, you also find out that it's the 33rd prime. And I cover this also in other decodes. And then, of course, 13 is 33. So this is just a fun little alchemology exercise where you can see how if you take like just the concept of Pisces soup, I mean, who uses soup in astrology? This is an energy we're dealing with where it's just sort of bubbly and amorphous and we run into things and we're not really sure what to do with them, but it is what it is. So, all right, let's get into a really nice aspect. This is a trine between Jupiter, Lilith, and the moon. And all of these are in earth signs. And when we read the energies, it just feels very soul guided. So check it out. Here's Jupiter, 25 degrees of Taurus. Here's Moon at 30 degrees of Virgo. And here is asteroid Lilith at 16 degrees of Capricorn. All earth energy, okay? This is Virgo, Earth Mother. Taurus is like just the things that you have, and then Capricorn is accumulating and achieving. So this is really literally the structure of stuff. All earthy energy. The moon, as we've talked about, is the only thing really anchoring all that Pisces soup. So we have our emotional, intuitive Black Moon Lilith is over here, making it much harder to really kind of hang on to anything that's grounded. But the moon is reaching out and receiving assistance from Jupiter and Lilith. And Lilith is providing intuition and instinct in what's going to be integral and authentic and long lasting. And then Jupiter is expanding our faith in the here and the now. Okay. So if you can have faith and trust in here and the now with Jupiter here and you can trust your intuition for the higher good, this moon is going to bring you such magical energy. I mean, it's really, really so incredible. Let's see what else happens. So I wanted to point out that whenever we're talking about aspects like a grand trine, we are talking about an equilateral triangle. And anytime you have a three-sided equilateral triangle, the angle of the degrees always add up to 180. Same thing with an isosceles triangle, but this 180 degrees is super interesting because if you take this 33 isotope of sulfur and the 147 isotope of promethium, and you mix them together in this trine cauldron, you get 180. So these numbers, 32 plus 147 or 33 is 180. So that's kind of cool. That's what sort of confirmed to me that this is probably the most important aspect right here, this grand trine. And it's very brief, but it gives you a moment of reality, of clarity, of understanding, of belief, because of the way it's connected as well to the Chiron energy in that opposition. So here they are with their degrees. If you add their degrees up, this is interesting. You get the number 71. Okay, this is really cute. I love this. It points to this 7 of Pentacles card. And this card is like just really being grounded in your work. It's really just focusing on the task at hand, being in the here and now. I mean, this guy looks kind of sad, but it's not about expanding, maybe. Maybe it's about looking at what's in front of you and working with that and appreciating it and having gratitude around it. You know, Jupiter's also about appreciation and generosity. Maybe there are things around you that you want to give up or get rid of. This is really good energy to do that too, because expansion is much easier when there's less things around you. And being in Taurus, that's kind of a lesson that Jupiter can teach us. But there's an interesting connection because the card that's related to it is the 7 of Diamonds, which just so happens to be the 33rd card. I don't know. Bam. I think that's what we need to say. This feels soul guided to me, and I love that soul guided is 48 in the Phi cipher. Because remember, Ophiuchus is 48 in the Phi cipher, and all that 13 and 33 and 48 connection that we just went through at the beginning of this presentation. So I hope you're seeing what I'm seeing. I hope you're vibing into this because this is really, really amazing and really profound that we can just tease out these very gentle, very awesome lessons just from the numerology. We can also look at the Jupiter, Moon, Lilith energy together in the Phi cipher, and we get the number 96. 96 is curium, and I think it's melting point or boiling point. Look at that. I just saw that immediately. That is 1.618. That is the golden ratio right there. Like, okay, so here's another confirmation that, you know, these loops of connections, these synchronicities or unexpected synchronicities across time and space are there to show us the way. You can also take Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, and you get the number 83. And 83 is the 23rd prime, which is Rahu and Ketu together, but even more interestingly, it has an interpolation of pi right here. So we have Phi and pi, which to me sing volumes that yes, you're connected to these very helpful energies to get through any intense purging, any intense and crazy emotions that are coming through during this full moon. Because I promise you, there's going to be some purging when we look at the next set of energies. Oh, and by the way, pi and phi together are 33. I forgot to give you the punchline. I'm so bad at jokes sometimes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so pi and phi are 33. Applause, applause, applause. Thank you. Okay, let's look at the rest of these characters because this is where the purging, this is where the jerkiness in the energy might feel uh, a little bit intense. All right, so we have this Pluto Mars opposition in Cancer versus Capricorn. But I want you to notice something really cool about this opposition. Well, let me cover what the tensions are. So this moon is or this Mars is in tension with the moon during the full moon and this creative energy, and in tension with the Sun and Chiron. Now Mars in Cancer is action for the self, action for the family. This is saying heal the self, care for the self, take care of the self. Whatever you do, this is what you need to do. Okay. If you've got people that are close to you that need care, take care of them as well. There might be challenges around this. There might be family challenges around this. It just really depends. But you might feel some tension in the family arena. You might undergo a bout of illness if you're not really monitoring your physical presence or your emotional presence. If you're not tapped into that creative energy, you might feel a little bit drained as well. So really nurture the self here. This is what this Mars is telling me. Because the energy that Pluto uncovers here in Capricorn is it's a destruction and a recreation of foundations. And if you think about a building being demolished, there's a whole lot of safety concerns. You can't just take it down, right? Because there's going to be decades, maybe even centuries of all kinds of detritus and just gunk in the building, under the building, that's, been festering there for years and years and years and years. So sometimes you have to have like an actual like sanitation crew come in and handle anything that might be toxic. Okay, so Pluto coming through here, this is a very toxic purging energy. Okay, so if you feel like you've got the runs, or you're not, food's not sitting well with you and your body's purging, there's something emotional going on there. There's something at the core level of you that needs to get out of you. So instead of feeling miserable, thank your body for noticing that and getting rid of it. This is a very purging time. So that's on the physical level, but on the energetic level, it just spirals and fractals upward. So there's all kinds of ways you can manifest a purging energy with this opposition. So let's look at them closely. I hope you guys are laughing too, because I saw this immediately. This 33. Get out of here. Mars and Pluto's 41, and 41 is the 13th prime. Okay. So yes, all of it's connected. All of it goes back to these numbers, no matter how hard I try. And 13 is 33. Let's see who's next. Capricorn Cancer is 55, right? That takes us back to that Fibonacci sequence. And then, of course, we have the 13 and the 33 here with the 55th element. Okay, so these two characters just kind of bringing it all together, nodding to the general theme of what's going on and what we need to be looking out for. And then this is so this is when I was going to talk about the square energy, but this can be tough. Like I said, really nurture the self-reflection. The spirit will guide you on what actions you need to take surrounding this, what's going to be a greatest benefit for you. Mars is trining all of this soupy soup. So, like, there's something being guided for Mars. It's personal energy. It's energy about taking care of things, about being responsible. So, and in Cancer, it's about this, it's about self, and Mars is about the I am, so things that are close to you, personal to you, everything from like your physical space to your family members, is being guided by the Pisces soup, yet challenged by the healing that needs to take place and the repression of creative energy. Uranus in Taurus. So I wasn't really sure which direction to go with Uranus. So I went ahead and did Uranus in all the ciphers. And I thought it was interesting. We got a 33 out of the deal. And then, the mirror image of 13 there. So we have the 133 again. 21 is also important because 21 is Phi. 21 is Nagas, that serpent energy. Taurus is interesting. If you do Taurus in all the ciphers and you add it up, you get 72. I might be stretching on this one. I was just playing around, but 72 brought up hafnium. And I don't know if you noticed this, but hafnium gives us moons and stars. And then it also gives us a density of that 133 again. So just a nice little connection there with Uranus. Uranus is sort of the wild card in all of this. Uranus is trining Sun and Moon in the Pisces area and sextiling the South. I might have that backwards. Let me go back and look. Yeah. Okay. So Uranus is sextiling the Pisces soup and trining the South Node. And so this feels like an element of, kind of needing to trust, needing to know that the connections are there, even if you don't see them right away. Uh, Even if something feels like it's out of time and out of place, this is Uranus's influence. And Taurus likes to cling to things when it feels insecure. So remember, if you're feeling clingy, ask yourself why. If you feel like you need something, say, can you do without it? Or what would you do if you didn't have it? And how would that go? And just make yourself okay with it. Uranus has kind of got to go with the flow. Uranus is about breaking the rules. So you need to be an expert in all of the things you do to be okay with the weirdness that Uranus can bring to the table. But it's all laid out in the stars and it's all for you. And you have the choice if you want to participate or not. So the final thing that's going to be happening that day is Venus stationing direct. And right off the bat, I noticed that, we have a Fibonacci number here. This is the one after 55. So this is, we saw the 21, the 34, and the 55 in this decode. These three are related to Venus's orbit with Earth. This is 12 by 12, 12 times 12. You can see how that number is derived. But yeah, another Fibonacci number. So before I go down that rabbit hole, I wanted to end this presentation, and this will probably be part of Friday's live stream where we talk about Venus stationing direct. I want to revisit the white serpent energy just one or two more times and see if there's any more wisdom that can be gained from that. All right, my loves, thank you so much. These are the resources you can find if you are interested in decoding. But remember always that your main source is source, the higher self, the Christ consciousness, the all, the knowing. That's where we get this from. So I wanted to thank you for listening, and please feel free to leave a comment if you saw anything I didn't, or if you have any amazing insights to this. I appreciate you guys, and I want to wish you well and a happy full moon.